On the last day of an iteration, an agile team has 3 out of 7 items at 90% completion. Team estimate it will take just one more day to finish these 3 items, and they can achieve 100% of the iteration goal. How should the project manager deal with this situation? So what's the right thing to do when you have this situation? You have a need of just one more day, and that can help your project or iteration goals rather than project iteration goal reach or touch the 100% of mark. Let's see what are the options. Extend the iteration by one day. Seek advice from stakeholders. Option B. Option C, recommend closing the iteration with current completion. Option C. Option D, start the next iteration as per schedule without closing the current. Pick up the one which works for you. You need to pick up the best and with the available informations only. Don't have to add extra thing in a given situation. Think like it's coming in the exam. Okay, so I feel in a real world, as a project manager, you might have worked or might have taken all the possible 4 options at different situations. But you might also be knowing which one is most recommended if we just follow a good practice and we don't bring other exceptions or sequence or situations in account. Yeah. So let's look at one by one. Extending the iteration by one day. Now, in general, when we talk about time boxing, which means it has to finish on the day we have predicted it has to finish. So which means the iterations which we are running are expected to start and finish on a defined date. We cannot breach that. That's the whole idea of time boxing. Now, it may look very attractive that I just need one day and that can like fix up all the issues. I can show that we have 100% iteration goal, because in the absence of that, I may only have a 60% or something as an iteration goal, assuming all iterate or like all topics are more or less of the same weightage. Yeah, so it might look a good idea, but then I am violating the basic fundamental principle of time boxing, which recommend us to fix the time. The reason is, if you start doing it once, you might keep doing more and more frequently, and you never know 1 day is needed or 2 days are needed or 3 days are needed. You will only come to know once the 1 day is passed. So there is a complexity we are inviting if we start playing with the boundaries of the time box. So please, especially in the exam context, be very careful of violating the rule of time boxing. So option A is not at all a good option. Yeah, may look very good, but not at all a good option when you are giving the exam. Seek advice from stakeholders. Now it is like this. Oh, I have a situation. I need to go to someone, say PMO or some support person and ask them what to do. Maybe a good idea, but why? If you can decide yourself. So we need to see what are the other options. Can I just decide based on the basic way of working we have agreed upon? Yeah. So let's see option C. Recommend closing the iteration with current completion. That seems to be the best option for me. So the idea here is wherever we stand, as per the time box, we need to close it. It's an event which help us in reflecting on what has been done. And then we retrospect and find out how do we avoid this situation in future, what we can do to improve it. That is something, is a retrospective discussion rather than doing some adjustment here as of now. So that seems to be the best option or best thing to do in a given situation. Option D, start the next iteration as per the schedule without closing the current. Yeah, I have seen in a real world many people doing it, but it is not at all a good idea to do that. So it's like this. Oh, we are starting the next iteration, but for this iteration, we may take few more days and then we will close it. Yeah. and then you have a 2 iterations running without closing the previous iteration. You are in a new iteration, and people are also confused. Some of your team members are working in the previous iteration, some of the team members have moved to the next iteration, and the whole process looks complicated because the amount of effort invested in the next iteration is also difficult to predict, because some amount of leakage is happening in the previous iteration as well. So you might have seen such kind of things in your organization happening when such kind of situation occurs, but it is not at all a good idea, because it confuses the whole process and hampers our collection of data like velocity number, by getting stakeholder engagement at the iteration boundaries, like iteration reviews, reflecting on what was working, what was not working. So all those the things start getting disturbed when we start taking these kind of workarounds. So the option C is the best option in this particular situation.